Hi everyone! Today I'm going to show you how to paint realistic lips. So here is the anatomy of a pair of lips. I find that lips are best painted when this whole area is worked on as one section. They make up the total area of the lips, and I like to start with the main shadows of this area and then outline the tubercle of the upper lip and then outline the wings on both sides. This forms as a curtain that falls onto and shapes the lower lip. The lower lips start with the groove, which protrudes out of the center of the lower lip, and then the lobes on both sides are painted on after. And lastly, I fill in the red margins of the lips, which are usually the midtones that I'm painting the lips with. So breaking this down into simple terms, here is the demo. Every set of lips are different and every portrait has a different lighting composition. So look at your subject and determine where the light is coming from and where the shadows are and where the reflected lights and highlights are coming from. For this particular painting, the light is coming from the top right of the model and the shadow is casted on the lower and outer corners, and it's more prominent on the upper left side of her lips. Determine your foundational palette of colors and keeping it minimal. As you can see, this demo is a continuation of a portrait painting that I'm working on, so the full palette you'll be able to see in my previous video, but in order to keep it minimal, it does not necessarily mean use only primary tubes of color. You can see here that I have many colors, but my palette is still minimal. What this means is to pre-mix a palette using whatever tubes of color that you wish that yields no more than 5 foundational colors. And these 5 foundational colors should include the midtone of the flesh around the lips, the shadow color of the flesh around the lips, the shadow color of the lips, the outline color, and number 5, the midtone color of the lips. Once you have your palette determined, stick to this palette and make small variations from these foundational colors. When I'm painting portraits, as I'm approaching the mouth, I put a lot of attention on the area around the lips, as this paves way into how the lips will come to life. And that's because this is essentially 2 different types of flesh that fuse together on the face. So there has to be meticulous and subtle blending between the 2. So I want to make sure the shadows and the skin colors are pretty spot on before I start outlining the lips. When it comes to the actual lips, I'm painting the shadows first because that defines the shape of the lips. Once I'm inching closer and closer to the actual lips, I'm going to paint the main shadows as it gives most definition to it. So I'm painting the outer corners and the shadow underneath the lips. And whenever I'm painting a small area, I tend to start with the shadows because that not only defines the shape, it also keeps me from losing the drawing. The reason why I'm painting the outline before filling in the lips is because I want the outline to set underneath the red margins so they don't look like a lipstick liner. I'm painting the top outline of the lips, starting with the tubercle and the left and right wings. I'm outlining it with a darker pink, and what's going to make it look more realistic at the end is to very lightly paint over the edges with a flesh tone. Outlining the lips, I'm filling in the middle, which are the red margins with a lighter pink. The middle of the bottom lip is usually brighter and warmer because it's receiving the light that's coming from above, whereas the top lip will cast more shadow and have reflected light from the bottom lip. After all the paint is applied, I'm rendering the details, adding more shadows, and using a small round brush with skin tone on it and lightly running over the edges of the lips so it fuses with the face even more. And I'm also adding some highlights as well. So as you can see, how the lips come together really depends on the shadows and how it blends with the rest of the face in the end. The highlights and pinks of the lips are very subtle and actually worked on the least. I spent a lot more time blending the face with the edge of the lips and rendering on the shadows. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Let me know of any questions in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.